You building a wall. You build a wall for one of two reasons. Exactly. I cannot figure out what they're talking about. And then I was listening to this press conference today with these white fuckers that scare the shit out of me because they look like the fucking reptilian aliens. They probably are. And I'm hearing them talk and I'm thinking, what in God's name are these people doing running our country? Or in running anything we do. And they have a few very freaky slip-ups in their languages that I will show you in a second. They're not talking about immigrants, workers coming here from Mexico. They're talking about something else. They're talking about some other types of people.
We do have the security possession of the Berlin Wall.
I agree with you, and it's possible, but
sanctuary states are the same as the Jews.
get this done. And Chuck, I will say, when this group comes back, hopefully with an agreement, this group and others from the Senate, from the House, comes back with an agreement, I'm signing it. I mean, I will be signing it. I'm not going to say, oh, gee, I want this or I want that. I'll be signing it because
This whole event sounds staged.
come out with something really good. Senator, would you like to say something?
I would. As you know, we tried for comprehensive immigration reform in the Senate. It was on the floor. There were a number of amendments. It got a lot of attention in the Judiciary Committee, and then the House didn't take it up. I think there needs to be a willingness on both sides. And I think, and I don't know how you would feel about this, but I'd like to ask a question. What about a clean DACA bill now, with a commitment that we go into a comprehensive immigration reform procedure like we did back, well, I remember when Kennedy was here, and it was really a major effort, and it was a great disappointment that it went nowhere.
I think that's basically what Dick is saying. We're going to come out with DACA. We're going to do DACA, and then we can start immediately on the phase 2, which would be comprehensive.
Would you be agreeable to that?
Yeah, I would like to do that. I think a lot of people would like to see that, but I think we have to do DACA first.
Mr. President, you need to be clear, though. I think what Senator Feinstein's asking here, when we talk about just DACA, we don't want to be back here 2 years later. You have to have security, as the Secretary would tell you.
But I think that's what you said.
I think you're saying something different. I think you're saying DACA without security. Are you talking about security as well?
Well, I think if we have some meaningful, comprehensive immigration reform, that's really where the security goes. And if we could get the DACA bill, because March is coming and people are losing their status every day.
But let's be honest, security was voted on. Well, people, I really don't believe there are a lot of Democrats supporting chain migration anymore.
Should we have a Homeland Security Secretary?
Yes.
You know, just a couple things on border security. I just want to try to make sure we're all linking. The reason that border security is so important to have as part of this discussion is that it doesn't solve the problem if we can apprehend people, but we can't remove them. So we need the wall system, which is some physical infrastructure, as the president described, personnel and technology, but we have to close those legal loopholes, because the effect of that is this incredible pull up from Central America that just continues to exacerbate the problem. So border security has to be part of this, or we will be here again in 3, 4, 5 years. Again, maybe unfortunately sooner. The other point I would just make is the president asked DHS, he asked the men and women of DHS, what do you need to do your job? Congress and the American people have entrusted to you the security of our country. What is it that you need? The list that we have provided is what we need to do our mission that you asked us to do. It's not less than, it's not more than, it is what we need to close those loopholes to be able to protect.
These are hookers, they love
I would just encourage everyone much more eloquently than I can describe all the reasons why we all, I think, here are committed to helping the DACA population. But to truly solve the problem, it's got to be in conjunction with border security.
Jeff?
I would just echo what my son here. For those of us who have been through comprehensive reform, that was 6, 7 months of every night negotiating, staff on weekends, and a lot of the things we're talking about on border security and some of the interior things have trade-offs. And we made those.
Equivalent, what is, every other country in the world, what is it, how
I don't see how
severe do they take
we get there before March 5th.
That's why we're making a phase two. We do a phase one, which is DACA and security, and we do phase two, which is comprehensive immigration, and I think we should go right to it. I really do. We do one, and we then do the other, but we go right to it, yes.
Mr. President, I think it's important to thank you for your flexibility and your leadership. And so I think what all of us have to do is have the same willingness to have a little bit of flexibility to get this issue done. And obviously, I want to do a lot more than that. But the urgent thing now, for obvious reasons, are these young men and women who we have to deal with first and foremost. And
What does that mean?
point, there are two issues which we keep hearing that everybody agrees to. That is dealing with these individuals in a permanent, real solution, and border security. So
You said it right there.
I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that, and I'm hoping that that will then lead us to Senator Cotton's point of there's a lot of lack of trust. If we can get real border security and deal with these individuals, we can get that done.
That's what they're talking
Then
about.
I think, my gosh, it all opens up to do a lot more things in the future for the American people.
I just want to emphasize what Secretary Nielsen said. It is
They're not talking about it, you know.
talk about border security. If you apprehend somebody at the border, but then you cannot send them back outside the United States, even though they're unlawfully present in the United States, you have not solved this problem because they're then released into the interior of the country and the problem persists. And that sends a message back to wherever they've come from.
I agree.
They come to
You
it.
know what? We're going to negotiate that out. I agree, and I think a lot of people agree on both sides. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I agree with my good friend Mario in the sense that if we focus on DACA and border security, I think we can address this. Issues of chain migration or the other issues, I think that should be looked at the second phase. But again, I said this with all due respect to both Democrats and Republicans, but being from the border, I always get a kick out of people that go down and spend a few hours there and they think they know the border better than Cornyn or Martha, some of us there, because we've lived there all our lives. Let me explain this. For example, if you look at the latest DEA, if you're worried about drugs, look at the latest DEA report. More drugs come through the ports of entry than in between ports. So this is where the activity is, where the walls are at right now.
We have massive and miles of area where people are pouring through.
That's not, I don't think that's true.
Because of our rhetoric or because of the perceived, my perceived attitude.
The attitude not,
We're trying to come through. That's a great thing.
Well, that's a huge thing.
Fantastic. Maybe
because no one's coming to the jobs anymore.
I want to ask you that we're playing, you saw the game last night, it's a good game last night. We're playing defense on the 1 yard line called the U.S. border. We spend over $18 billion a year on the border. If we think about playing defense on the 20-yard line, if you look at what Mexico has done, they've stopped thousands of people on the southern border with Guatemala. We ought to be looking at working with.
We stopped them. You know why? Mexico told me, the president told me, everybody tells me, not as many people are coming through their southern border because they don't think they can get through our southern border, and therefore they don't come. That's what happened with Mexico. We did Mexico a tremendous favor.
We actually put appropriations to help them with the southern
The
border.
point is, I know, we always give everybody, every other nation gets money but ours.
But finally,
We're always looking for money, but we give the money to other nations.
We steal money from everybody, dude. What about Iraq?
we're playing defense on the 1 yard line.
And sure enough, I found more than what I thought I would find. And in fact, it bewilders me on what exactly is these fuckers' agenda. I was working down by Los Angeles International Airport at a company called Computer Sciences Corporation. The reason I speak really quick, by the way, is if you speak Spanish before English, you tend to speak rapidly. That's one reason. And the woman who raised me was from Guatemala, so I picked up Spanish before English, although I failed Spanish in schools. So that's maybe one bias, is that my godmother and my other family is basically from Guatemala. And God knows that they were extremely very successful and great people. They did not take any jobs from Americans. That's not my point. My point is that I kind of get it. I grew up around that culture. I did not grow up around American culture, except 4th of July, barbecues and all that. But they have barbecues too, okay? All right, grew up in LA. But I didn't understand, from what I know, and I knew Imelda, who was in her 60s and 70s, and eventually became a naturalized citizen. Documented, yes. An illegal alien? Okay, as far as I know, an illegal alien is someone that, or something from another planet that shoots lasers out of its eyes, honestly. Why would you use the word illegal alien? They're an undocumented citizen. They're in this country without documents, which means that they're not a natural citizen. They're not aliens, they're not illegal, and you know exactly what I'm saying by that. No, I'm just trying to point something out here. Now, when Trump had gone on, and keep in mind, this is going to confuse you, I think there's a reason Trump's in office, but I want to point out to you what you're not seeing, and the things that you don't see in the media, the things that you believe. And even after I show you this, you're still not going to believe me. And this happens with everything. This happens with wars. This happens with economy. This happens with murders. This happens with terrorist attacks, when they claim terrorist attacks have occurred. This happens when they say priests are molesters. This happens when they say Muslims are I mean, it's ridiculous. When they bring up crime, this is the kind of stuff you don't see. Today, we had a huge press conference where it showed Trump in action, having a press conference and talking about DACA and illegal, remember, the rapists. They send the rapists and the illegal immigrants here. They're taking all of our jobs, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I live in California. And I remember my whole life having spoken Spanish first. Exactly, well, how many Latinos there are and how many there aren't. And how many times I've had a job taken from a Latino, and how many times, to be honest with you, it's usually a guy from Chicago who moved out here to be in the entertainment industry, and I lost my job to a guy who's going to work harder in Hollywood, but he wasn't even from California, but he was white. He wasn't, his name wasn't Pedro, okay, and he wasn't illegal. Also, a note in this Wikipedia article that keep in mind that an immigrant is someone who was not born in the U.S., period. So I guess I'm not an immigrant. But if you were born somewhere else and spent all your entire life, though, after that day in America, you are still considered an immigrant. You're just a legal immigrant. So they use the word alien. That's interesting to me. Because when they give numbers for immigrants, you automatically associate that with illegal aliens. Yet the amount of immigrants in this country is astronomical. Tons of people live in this country that were not born in this country. It's almost 38% of the people living in this country are immigrants. And so you think, oh my God, yeah, against the law. In fact, it was open borders. Anybody could come here anytime. We didn't even have to announce who they were until the 1930s. And it wasn't even made illegal until about 30 years ago of there being any law at all that it was illegal for you to be here, unless you got the proper paperwork. But one thing I knew wasn't true is, just like with terrorism, just like with internet hacking, when Russia supposedly hacked our minds, and we're all a bunch of stupid kids on Facebook, and because of that, we got Trump in office. So we need to stop allowing the internet to be free for everybody because, we have a terrorist attack. Let the cops come in, get out of the way. We're now going to regulate the internet. Bullshit. It was a hoax. I called it before it happened. And again, what are we so paranoid about? There's no one coming here anymore. There's no fucking jobs here. When Trump tells you that these rapists are coming here to steal our jobs, and some redneck or idiot is telling you they're coming here to steal our jobs, the only guys who might have a beef with that are construction workers, because yes, I see the Latino guys. Doesn't mean they're illegal. Does not mean they're illegal. Standing on the corner at Home Depot, getting hired for cheap labor, and they often don't get paid. That does hurt the construction industry. I will not deny that. I don't blame those guys for being pissed off. But when you broad base it, it's stealing American job, your job, my job. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. Heck, I was hired by someone you would consider an illegal alien and had a good job. That's the way it works nowadays. But we've got to build the wall to keep everybody out, right? There's something very fishy going on here. Because I know no one's coming here anymore. No one's been coming here since 2008 because of the economy. There are no jobs, and not even Americans can get jobs. But we have to build this wall, right? This wall. We have to build a wall to keep people out of here, right? I'm not so sure that's true. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it's very hard to, I assume it's hard to estimate how many people get by illegally, because if you didn't see them get into the country, you're not going to know how many are here. But this is more realistic because of the numbers of immigrants that live here after they've done the U.S. Census. Listen to this. In 2012, an estimated 14 million people lived in families in which the head of the household or spouse of the United States was here without authorization. Illegal immigrants arriving recently, before 2012, tended to be better educated, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Let me see here. So they're not producing much in the U.S. Breakdown by state. Now, total number of illegal immigrants. This is astounding when you think about what Trump says. From 2005 to 2009, the number of people entering the U.S. illegally declined because there was no war in Nicaragua. We weren't there getting coke. Remember all the wars in Nicaragua and in El Salvador and even in Guatemala? That was CIA done, right? I may add that. Okay. From 2005 to 2009, it declined. The amount of people coming here illegally declined 67%. According to the Hispanic Center. Maybe they're lying. From $850,000 a year, $850,000 yearly, who were escaping war, so they were basically refugees, as I remember it. Maybe I'm wrong. When in yearly average in the early 2000s to 300,000. The most recent estimates put that the number of unauthorized immigrants at 11 million people, so that means that's the ones that are already here that are illegal, 11 million in 2015. That only represents 3.4% of the entire population. So out of all of the illegal immigrants that have ever entered the U.S. In 50 years, the amount of illegal immigrants that are here only make up 3.4% that are illegally here. Out of all our population, really. That 3.4% is that serious, first of all. I had no idea. So only 3.4, that's a lot of people, but I'm just saying 3.4% are here illegally, which means that they didn't return on their visas. That's more than just Latino, that's everybody. The population of unauthorized immigrants, it only peaked out in 2007, 11 years ago, which sounds about right, when it was at 12.2 million people. And then it was only at 4% of the U.S. population were here illegally. But that's how many were coming across the border. Narrowing the discussion to only Mexican nationals. In 2015, hold on, a study performed by demographers of the University of Texas, San Antonio, and University of New Hampshire found that immigration from Mexico, both legal and illegal, peaked in about 2003. And that from the period of 2003 to 2007 to the period of 2008 to 2012, immigrants from Mexico, it decreased 57%. Just like I thought. No one's coming here anymore. No one wants to come to America. Okay? All our companies, all our corporations, Mr. Trump, I thought you said they moved to Mexico. Now, I know you want to bring them back, but make up your mind. Are they all coming here? Because we're going to have to build a wall, right? Or are they all already here, or what's going on? Or are they staying in Mexico because there's better jobs in Mexico now than in the U.S.? I'm just saying, this is exactly what I knew was going on. According to 2017 National Bureau of Economic Research paper, the number of undocumented immigrants has declined in absolute terms, while the overall population of foreign-born workers has remained stable because major source countries for the U.S. immigration are now seeing and will continue to see weak growth in labor. So there's many reasons of that. But why you would target Hispanics? It's gone down 57% in 2007. In other words, it's peaked out and is going down, and yet it was brought up as a topic this year. In other words, ain't nobody coming here. Nobody's coming here. So why are you building a wall? Why are you building a wall? You build a wall for one of two reasons. Exactly. I cannot figure out what they're talking about. And then I was listening to this press conference today with these white fuckers that scare the out of me because they look like the fucking reptilian aliens. They probably are. And I'm hearing them talk and I'm thinking, what in God's name are these people doing running our country? Or in running anything we do? And they have a few very freaky slip-ups in their languages that I will show you in a second. They're not talking about immigrants. Let me show you something else. Let me rewind this. El Chapo got busted. Now, this is amazing. My dog's pretty fucking well. Let me go to Google. And you can't trust the internet. Maybe that's fake news. But I knew that was true, and I guarantee you I can find even more proof of that everywhere. Illegal immigration is down. It's dropped so far, it's as if there was a wall there. What do we need to build a wall for? Okay, El Chapo, and what is his name? This guy always has something interesting to say. Chapo, his money, funds for wall. They were going to use, well, look at this, how they do this. They put this in the news, and if you don't catch it, and you don't, because you're video, it's my job. I'm unemployed and always on drugs, right? Okay, Ted Cruz said El Chapo's money is going to fund the border. Now check this out. El Chapo's in prison right now. Did you know El Chapo's attorney wants him to be out of confinement because the guy is losing his mind? I guess he deserves to lose his mind, right, because he's a drug dealer, if he even is a drug dealer. He's going crazy. He's losing his mind. He's in his room, locked in for so long. They show video of him, of his camera in his room, and the guy is being tortured and losing his mind. His lawyer is begging that he have more time, or that the judge give him something so that he does not lose his mind. They're literally causing the guy to go crazy. It's not funny at all. It would happen to any one of us. Okay? He's talking to ghosts practically. It's really the video. But, who cares, right? He's a big drug dealer who probably got set up by the U.S. El Chapo, $14 billion is his worth. Now, I'm sorry, but you really, really don't make that much money being one dude slinging coke. $14 billion. That guy made $14 billion slinging coke. Okay, I'll give you that. I didn't know you could make that much money. He's Fortune 500 right there. Him and Zuckerberg are competing. El Chapo's a coke dealer, and him both have bank accounts that have that much money in it. Okay. I'm not going to fight on that one. Why don't we take the money because they arrested him and use it to fund the border? Let's click on this. He looks totally different in jail now. He's like skin and bones.
Aerospace explores to find the impossible.
What's the bill for Trump's border wall? Good idea? I don't want to see the story here.
The U.S. government have to find this money. I mean, I have been talking about this with sources from the DEA and from the ICE, and even them, they think that this sum, $14 billion, is not real.
See, I told you, dude. I never seen it before.
It's a bad calculation, but
yeah, there's no way, dude. There's no way, dude.
This money exists. I mean, it will be almost impossible to find it.
Thank you. I didn't even mean to find that. Thank you. Well, I'm glad someone realizes what I realized. The DEA said that? Okay, let me look. I wanted to show you the newspaper article of that. You guys better wake up, man. They're laundering, the government, these assholes in our government are laundering money. In other words, El Chapo doesn't exist, the money doesn't exist. They do that shit like they did on 9/11. I gotta find the newspaper article on this, but there's even another one. These are all in the newspaper, and all on the same day. I mean, the way they strategically time this shit. It's an act. We're going to put in an act. His Kingpin's money. It began as a joke shared among law enforcement officials gathered in Long Island. No, one of them. Use it to pay for Trump's wall. But turns out, if you go down, look at there's a picture there with his cash, supposedly. Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz was not laughing earlier this week, April 25th, when he introduced legislation, and it was introduced as the El Chapo Act. The bill would dedicate all the money recovered from the Kingpin, and prosecutors claim Guzman's amassed wealth is at $14 billion between January 89, that's when we got Noriega too, to December 2014. Guzman, who is in the U.S. custody in New York, has pleaded not guilty to drug trafficking and money laundering charges in the U.S. in Brooklyn. The guy has probably just some immigrants that pull off. $14 billion will go a long way towards building a wall and will keep Americans safe and hinder the illegal flow of drugs, weapons, and individuals across the southern border, which I just showed you isn't even coming here. There's the rapist line again. U.S. judge blocks Trump move to DACA, end DACA program for minutes. San Francisco, U.S. judge. When he said all they do is send the rapist here, I couldn't believe that. All of his numbers are full of shit, dude. They're scaring you with 1981 numbers when they had a war there and we had immigrants coming here. And when they say we have 11 million illegal immigrants, that makes you think that that's how many are coming across the border. That's how many total we've gotten over 40 years that are living here. Do you see what I'm saying? Dude, we have 11 million immigrants coming here. No, we had 11 million immigrants come here. There's 11 million immigrants have been living here for a long time. The number hasn't been going up. This is all. That's all new. You're making it sound like they just came across the border, and they know what they're saying. They're lying. I mean, come on. Like, who could have possibly have known that Russia, of all people, with no NSA power or CIA power, could have ever created that hack on Facebook? Since we're so stupid and we don't realize. I never saw one ad about Hillary Clinton, and it didn't change my vote. I knew who I was not going to vote for years ago, and I knew who I was going to vote for this election. Who? Nobody. The vote for America was to vote for neither one of these assholes because neither of them represented America. Hell, I wanted a woman as president, but I did not want some zombified woman. And I don't know, maybe God changed them, but I did not want Satan, and that was Satan. We voted Obama in office for God's sake. Okay, the first time an African American race. Okay, I don't care what Obama did. I don't care if he's Satan himself. He was a black man, finally voted in. That was a big deal. My generation voted him in office, by the way, not the baby boomers, my generation. After that, for all I know, he took little voodoo dolls of my generation and put pins in them. I don't really give a fuck. The point is, the largest amount of voters ever in America came out, and that was part of my generation, and we voted in a black president. And I guess he didn't do a good job, and this and that, Obamacare. Okay, we'll accept that. He fucked up. Or maybe something was controlling him. We don't know yet. But what should we do now? I got an idea. What? Let's vote the exact opposite in. Let's vote in a guy that thinks all Latinos are rapists and build a wall and says that all Muslims cannot come into the country at all anymore. We're not even letting you here anymore. When we haven't even had a terrorist attack here in 18 years, and now everyone's questioning who the fuck really did that terrorist attack. Over 50% of Americans don't believe that it was Muslims who did that. Why are they targeting Muslims? I don't know. Why are they targeting Catholic priests? Because they're all molesters. That's right. That's why you joined the priesthood. Instead of being a Boy Scout leader, instead of going in the park and looking at kids with binoculars, you decided to waste 4 years of your life studying Jesus so that then you can go out and molest boys. It makes it better that way. When you can just go out and get one right now. And you believe that shit. Quit drinking the water. Quit taking the legal medication. How can you be shocked when in September 24th, they control the internet now. They don't even like you researching this stuff. They've removed stuff from the internet. I can't September 24th. I can. Yeah, look at that. Blocking internet oversight transition. This is the September 24th. Okay? This is a month and a half before the election. This is how they get you, America. And look at the headlines of the Washington Post. And this is blocking internet oversight transition is a gift to Russia, says Republicans. And sure enough, one of them said, you're opening the door to the Russians. Why, of all places, would you say Russia? And all it is the person who controls the internet names. ICANN, it stands for, what does it stand for? It's the people who get the www names.
Legitimate studies about what he says rapists coming across the border and criminals. Here's his reaction.
Oh, well, if you look at the statistics of people coming, I didn't say about Mexico, I say the illegal immigrants. You look at the statistics on rape, on crime, on everything coming in illegally into this country, they're mind-boggling. If you go to Fusion, you will see a story about 80% of the women coming in. I mean, you have to take a look at these stories. And you know who owns Fusion? Univision. And it was in the Huffington Post. I said, let me get some of these articles because I've heard some horrible things. I deal a lot of talking with people on the Border Patrols. Yeah. They're incredible people.
I want to get
our country. They're incredible.
I want to get some clarification,
No, but Don, all you have to do is go to Fusion and pick up the stories on rape, and it's unbelievable when you look at what's going on. So all I'm doing is telling the truth.
I've read the I read the Washington Post, I read the Fusion, I read the Huffington Post, and that's about women being raped. It's not about criminals coming across the border or entering the country.
Well, somebody's doing the raping, Don. I mean, you know, somebody's doing the, just saying it's women being raped. Well, who's doing the raping?
People with power.
Mm-hmm.
Power.
Who's doing the raping? I mean, how can you say such a thing?
Rape's about power.
So he is not backing away from his comments. As a matter of fact, doubling down, and he truly believes, Wolf, that on this particular issue, even though I tried to point out that there is a distinction in the reporting that the women coming across, that's the price for them to, according to the, you know, those news organizations reporting, that's the price of them coming into this country. It's not necessarily criminals that are coming into America.
Exactly.
Will also be a country of law and order. The most basic duty of government is to defend the lives of its own citizens. Any government that fails to do so is a government unworthy to lead.
I'm sorry, guys. You know what? So much of what Trump said tonight was misleading. I mean, we'll wade through it tomorrow in a fact check, but just to make you feel better, yes, there is a recent spike in homicides in major cities, but overall, America is in the middle of a historic crime drop. America is nowhere near the most taxed nation in the world, and illegal immigration has dropped to the lowest total since 2003. So if you've been watching the show while hiding under your bed, I want you to know that you can come out. Come out. Come out. Oh, come out unless you're Hillary Clinton.
This is the legacy of Hillary Clinton. Death, destruction, terrorism, and weakness.
And weakness. Only Donald Trump would think that weakness is worse than death and destruction. Because you end on the worst thing, Donald. Death, destruction, and weakness. That's like your doctor going, you have cancer, AIDS, and a little spinach in your teeth.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. And I have to say, as a Republican, it is so nice to hear you cheering for what I just said. Thank you.
My emotions, you know what my emotions like? My emotions were like that pizza with the hot dogs for a crust, you know? I mean, I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't quite understand, but I knew America was the reason behind it. And here's what made the spectacle even more exciting. You see, up until Ted Cruz's speech last night, it seemed like the convention was finally back on track. You know, former rivals stopped by to give their love. We were about to meet Trump's running mate, straight Anderson Cooper, and then Cruz walked in. And not only did he not endorse Donald Trump, he endorsed everybody but Donald Trump.
And to those listening, please, don't stay home in November. Stand and speak and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution.
We don't want to vote our conscience. We want to vote for Donald Trump. Who knew it?
We must